I'd call it divine justice, but I fear offending some of you who don't believe in the divine or in justice. But I kind of like the idea that while Pope Francis was talking about taking care of Mother Earth, there were millions of VW owners around the world that were spewing out noxious gases into the environment, courtesy of VW. Volkswagen CEO Martin Winterkorn, claiming he knew nothing about this whole thing, was forced to resign. Wait. Wasn't that the same Winterkorn that last year told the European regulators not to overburden the auto industry with excessive emission targets? There must be another person called Martin Winterkorn. Back in my day, there was an old Volkswagen ad with a photo of a beetle with a caption that said, "Think small." Well, folks, they did. Of course, VW shares plummeted, leading all auto stocks with it. The market in general chose to ignore the happy Pope news and went to hell instead. But Yellen popped it up like an angel on Friday, telling us that global growth was strong enough to withstand emerging markets turmoil. I guess she didn't include the emerging markets into the global growth equation. And she also said that overseas weakness would play a meaningful role in the Fed's decision-making process. Meaning what? She didn't say. Hillary was mad about losing traction against, of all people, Pope Bernie, so she decided to cause her own market action by bad-mouthing, price-gouging biotech stocks, which actually sent the biotech index lower after having gained only about, 600% or so since 2009. And while the US economy expanded at a brisk annual rate of 3.9%, fueled by consumer spending, and construction, I think, the Chinese economy contracted sharply to a level of 7%. But wait, 7% is not that bad, right? I mean, compared to 3.9 in the US. See, that's why I've never been good at any of this stuff. So I guess China is now gearing itself for increased growth, and the devaluation will surely help as cheap Chinese goods will flood the global markets. That really makes me happy. The world flooded with even cheaper Chinese exports. Everything back to normal. I fear disappointing you if I don't tell you where I think the markets are going. You really think anyone knows where the markets are going? Goodness. I still favor looking at individual stocks or indices and trying to figure out what people are going to be wanting, using, needing in the future. Talk to your kids, especially if they're below 18, and to your grandchildren. Ask them what they're going to be doing in 10 years. I'm not kidding, folks. Many of my best investment decisions were based on what my kids were telling me. This week, Janet Yellen speaks again on Wednesday, I think, and there's numbers coming out. Jobless claims, motor vehicle sales, pre-Volkswagen, and construction spending on Thursday. I think factory orders on Friday. And now that the Pope is gone, expect many candidates to speak untruths. Will any of this affect the markets? I don't think so. Yellen could if she wanted to. And I also don't want to talk about US politics. I mean, between Trump being Trump, Fiorina defending the use of waterboarding, at least she waited till Francis left, and Carson trying to be as bad as Trump, Hillary acting as if nothing happened, I have no opinion left. And what about John Boehner quitting because God or the Pope told him to? What's that about? All I know, people, is that Washington scares me, the US scares me, and I caution all of you to have a plan B. So the most emailed article in the New York Times this week is called "Stop Googling and Let's Talk." I was tempted to take a quote from that article and give it the Quote of the Week award, but it just feels too painful, so I'm just going to give it the runners-up. So this is the quote, and it's a long one. It says, "People were asked to sit in a chair and think without a device or a book. They were told that they would have from 6 to 15 minutes alone, and that the only rule was that they had to stay seated and not fall asleep. In one experiment, many student subjects opted to give themselves mild electric shocks," I'm serious, "rather than sit alone with their thoughts." End of quote. Okay, I can't help myself and I have to give the Quote of the Week award to Pope Francis, who said, quote, "A country that keeps its history alive does not repeat the errors of the past." End of quote. I think he was talking about the United States. Or was it Argentina? This is Abroad with a View. Thanks for listening.